Welcome everybody to the official Brock and Ben Go to the Moon, Goes to Camp podcast horror movie discussions. This is not the official name of the podcast because that would be very, very long and hard for people to say to their friends when telling about their new favorite podcast. I really love horror movies. And Ben, what is your relationship with horror movies?
I don't like them.
So you're getting two perspectives.
There's a few that I like.
Today we're talking about Midsommar. We're going to do that later, but first we're going to do a little update on the movie. Part of why we wanted to do a podcast is because we're beginning production on a little horror movie of our own, and so we wanted a place to like keep you guys updated and have a little outlet to spread that information. It would be like 5 seconds long. And then we're going to do a little sweet and sour, which just means we talk about the highlight and the low light of the past week. Doesn't even have to be movie related or horror related. Then we'll do a little bit of this or that. We're going to compare Midsommar, and I'm going to go through some movies that I know you've seen, Ben, and we're going to say Midsommar or this movie, and we're just going to go through like a couple of those. And then we'll talk Midsommar review, and we'll talk about our thoughts. We have not discussed it, so we will be sharing our thoughts.
Finished it 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, Ben just barely finished it. And then we'll end with a little weekly recommend. And weekly recommended doesn't have to be movie related. It can be a TV show. It can be an album. It can be a book. It can be a band, whatever. Little update on Home Sweet Home. That is the title of the next feature film. Yesterday I just went through the script. It's about 124 pages, which is roughly 2 hours and 4 minutes of screen time, and I went through the whole thing with a red pen, and I just demolished that thing, bro. I'm trying to cut it down to 90 pages, so I need to cut 35-ish pages because I want a tight, well-written 90-minute movie so that I'm not wasting your guys' time or the production time. Yeah, lots of problems with the first draft, lots of issues. Me and Ben have talked about a little bit of them, but we're gonna work through it. I want to work on the script for the next year while we're putting other stuff together, like obviously casting or this or that, things we can be doing, but I want to have like a year where we're just combing through the script and just making sure it's like airtight. But anyways, that's the update. So now let's go into sweet and sour. Ben, sweet and sour. The sweet of your week and the sour of your week. Let's hear it.
This is the sweet right here. My new bachelor pad. My brand new apartment. Moved in 6 days ago. It's great. I love living alone. I have this Vertigo poster on the wall.
From who?
From Brock. He gave it to me because he knows I love Vertigo.
Yeah.
And I have this bookshelf filled to the brim with fabric.
Wow. That's wifey's, I assume.
Yeah, she sews. Sour. What is my sour of the week? Not really a sour, but at the moment it was kind of sour. I'm going to tell a little story from last night. I invented a 2-player version of Twister, in which I marked out my Twister board like Battleship. So I put a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it's like red 1, you know? And so it's a 2-player game. Yeah. You have one person on the mat, one person on the side with the spinner, and the person on the spinner tells the person where they're going to put their appendages, and there's 5 rounds. So eventually you're going to need all 4 of your limbs and your head on the mat. As before you start, you each wager. Like the person on the mat puts out a wager. If I get through all 5 rounds, if I can do it, I get to do this, or you have to do this. And then the other person has a counter wager. And so if you get all 5, you get to do something. And if you lose it, then you face the consequences. She wagered that I'd chug this entire jug of water. And I don't remember what I wagered, but I ended up losing, so I had to chug this jug of water. It's a 3-liter jug of water. I kind of threw up a little bit, and I spent the entire night pissing.
Wow! Yeah, that was the worst part of your week?
I was going to go to bed early, but I just was awake till past midnight because I had to piss every 5 minutes.
Yeah, welcome to my life. You now know 1 ounce of my pain.
Your turn.
Oh, we filmed Home Sweet Home a week ago. We filmed a short film. That was terrifying. That could be a sweet and a sour. Sour, probably, dude, I've been having real trouble sleeping. Last Friday night, after we filmed the short, I've never had a worse sleep. I did not fall asleep until 5 a.m. I've never in my whole life had a problem sleeping. And last night, same sort of thing. I fell asleep decent, and then I woke up at 3 a.m. and I had to pee, and I could not fall back asleep. It took me like a couple hours, so I'm a little bit tired. Let's get into a little bit of this or that. I gotta pull up your Letterboxd again. I'm just gonna take like your most recently logged. Midsommar or Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
Scott Pilgrim.
Midsommar or Hot Rod? That's a easy one.
Hot Rod. Hot Rod supremacy.
Yeah, Ben's a little Hot Rod demon. Midsommar or Baby Driver?
Baby Driver.
Midsommar or Juror Number 2?
Juror Number 2.
Midsommar or Bonhoeffer?
What?
I don't know what this is. Bonhoeffer.
Bonhoeffer?
Yeah.
The freaking German movie?
I don't know. It's just in your...
It's like an Angels. That's like an Angels Studios movie. My dad made me go watch in the theater with him. Can't believe I put that on my letterbox. Can we skip this one? I don't remember that movie.
Midsommar or Extraction 2?
Midsommar.
Midsommar or The Northman?
The Northman.
Midsommar or Sicario 2?
Sicario 2.
Midsommar or Trap? The M. Night Shyamalan epic.
Trap? Oh. Midsommar.
Midsommar or The Visit? Another Shyamalan. Yeah, the little rapper.
Yeah, I remember it now. Midsommar.
Okay, thank goodness. And let's pick one more. Midsommar or Interstellar?
Midsommar.
Yes. Thank goodness.
I hate Interstellar. I would never drive 4 hours to watch an IMAX.
Yeah, that was so just for those of you at home.
I love Interstellar, by the way.
Yeah. Me and Ben, the first time I ever watched Interstellar was me and Ben watched a midnight showing in IMAX for the 10-year anniversary, and it was incredible. And I loved the movie. And then we went outside, and it was raining, and it was like 3 a.m. or whatever, and it was just a beautiful experience. So let's just get into it. Ben, I'm not gonna rate stuff because if you watch my YouTube channel, you know I don't like rating stuff. But Ben, if you had to give it a rating out of 5, a letterbox rating, what would you give it?
Letterbox rating out of 5.
Yeah.
Let me share some of my thoughts first.
Okay.
And I'll finish it up with the rating. All right, so there's a couple of quirky things in it, a couple of weird things, a couple of weird creative choices. But, you know, despite the weird stuff and the interesting choices and plots, if you, exclude all of that, then I hated it.
Oh. Okay.
I did not like that movie.
As a movie or as like a viewing experience?
Probably both. The only reason it won is because Trapped and The Visit are god-awful movies. What did I hate about that movie? It just felt like a really long nothing burger.
Really?
It was not scary, but it also wasn't really interesting. It was weird. I had no attachment to anybody. It just was stuff was happening, and it did nothing for me. I just was like, this is happening right now, and I don't care that it's happening. I thought the foreshadowing through the creepy drawings was pretty cool. Obviously, the cinematography is great. Other than that, it just was for me, it was like a big nothing burger. Big, overinflated nothing burger.
Whoa. So you didn't get scared? There was no scariness or...
No real tension or scary or anything. It was just blah.
Really? Okay, interesting.
So my letterbox rating... Oh, okay. So for the folks at home, my letterbox rating, taking into account the nice cinematography, the few things I did like, I'm going to give it a 2.
Oh! Wow! A 2!
Indeed.
That's brutal.
I am an IMDb user, so I
4.
I go in 1 to 10, not 1 to 5, so whatever. Yeah, 4 sounds about right. Well, maybe a 5. Let's call it 2.5, 2.5. Because when you get down below 5, you just get to truly atrocious everywhere movies.
Yeah.
It's between 5 and 6 is movies that were trying, but they just didn't land. I'm gonna put it in. I'll give it 2.5.
Interesting.
We convert from my IMDb scale.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm excited
I just
to.
broke my chair I was sitting on.
Well, that's unfortunate. I'm excited to dig into it a little bit more, but yeah, just some of my relationship with this movie is it was my least favorite Ari Aster movie out of the 4 features that he's made. It was my bottom, my number 4. I actually have probably gone on record and said that I didn't like this movie as well. I watched it back to back with Hereditary in 2021. I watched them side by side. It was a very depressing week after that, but I think I watched Hereditary first, and was so shocked and blown away. And then I went to Midsommar, and it wasn't as it wasn't as tight for me. And so I think I've just always looked at it with a little bit of disdain, but everyone loves it, so I really wanted to revisit it. And it's kind of like a summary movie and whatever, so I thought it would be good for the first episode of the podcast since we're at the tail end of summer. I don't remember the reasons I didn't like it, but I do remember that the first time I watched Midsommar, and this has caused some great reflection in me for the last 48 hours. The first time I watched Midsommar, I sided with freaking Christian. I was like a Florence Pugh, Dani hater, and thought that she was super
interesting.
I thought she was super annoying. I was like, dude, she's totally messing up these guys' girls' trip. She's totally putting all her baggage on this brother. And I remember I held that sentiment for a long time, and I want to just formally, after rewatching this movie about 5 years later, I want to formally apologize to any girl that I dated in 2021, because damn, I must have been one toxic ass boy, because I completely...
Yeah, I don't even think that plot point was supposed to be ambiguous.
No, it wasn't. It's laid on thick, but I was just so oh, Dani's so annoying. But, man, watching it this time, I'm like, yeah, they were really leaving nothing to the imagination. They really want you to not like Christian, and I don't anymore. So just wanted to put that out there.
Kind of got a good-sized hog, though.
So let's run through some positives. I've got a lot of positives for the movie. Like you said, it looks incredible. The cinematography is really good. I think it's a great-looking movie. The use of color, what the colors represent, which I'm not going to speak too heavily on. I've been watching a 7-hour Midsommar breakdown that I've learned a lot of stuff from. Let me look at the guy's name because I want to give credit where credit is due. Novum_YT, NOVUM_YT. He has a ton of I love YouTube videos that are excruciatingly long and don't need to be. And this dude spends, I think, an hour talking about the first 2 minutes of the movie. So it's super in-depth, goes through everything. And I'm only an hour or so in. Movie looks great. Another positive, Florence Pugh's acting kicks ass. What do you think about Florence Pugh's performance in this movie?
It's good. Yeah. Can't say it moved me in any way, but it was good. It was definitely the best. I didn't think Christian or the one dude or the other dude or even Will Poulter was that great.
Yeah, I forgot Will Poulter was in that movie, dude. I had a great disdain for Will Poulter for a lot of years, and I hated him, and I didn't know why, but I'm starting to think it was because Maze Runner and Midsommar made me hate him, but now I think he's a great actor. He was in the Boots Riley movie this year and was really funny. Yeah, Florence Pugh, right off rip, dude. The first time we see Florence Pugh is when she is calling Christian, and she's worried about her sister. She's on the phone, it's a 3-minute long take of just her face talking on the phone, and there's so many different emotions that she goes through, and she's trying to, at the beginning of the phone call, she's trying to sound like there's nothing wrong. She's trying not to worry Christian.
Hey, sweetie. What are you up to?
Try not to be a burden, but there's just tears coming through her eyes, and she's wiping them away, and it was so right off rip. I was like, holy, that's my second bullet point here is Florence Pugh's acting kicks ass. She should have. I want Florence Pugh to get her flowers. No pun intended.
She got her flowers. Lots of them.
Yeah. What did you know about the movie going into it beforehand? Did you know anything?
Not really. I had seen the cliff scene on Instagram, and
oh, really?
That's about it. I knew it was some kind of cult.
It. Yeah, I don't think I knew anything going into it the first time, and I was pretty shocked by that freaking cliff jumping scene, dude. This might be a stupid question, but was this all there's some moments on rewatch, because I kind of knew that he had some nefarious purposes, but there's some shots in the first 20 minutes before they go to Sweden. I think it's when they tell the group that Dani's going to Sweden with them. And everyone's kind of oh, what the heck? But Pele's got this weird, whoever played, I don't know the actor's name, sorry, but whoever played Pele is killer, because you can just see on his face, he's trying to hide this weird excitement. Yeah, there's just a lot of weird stuff that they set up with him. Do you think he was down bad for Florence Pugh's character, and that was part of like I just kind of want to understand. Okay, what was your read on that?
I think he was.
Because the other guy, his cousin or his brother or whatever, the other Swedish guy, he seemed to have like this weird relationship with that girl that was dating Elder Price.
He did.
So I don't know. I was kind of thinking like, what's next? What do you think is next for Florence Pugh's character after this? After the end of this film?
I think she's just brainwashed and with them. She's just in their community.
Yeah.
I think they kind of just broke her mind. I mean, she was smiling. She eventually started smiling at the fire.
Yeah. Holy, what an ending, bro. I don't know why I didn't like this movie the first time. Maybe it's just one of those movies.
My official final take on this movie is it was just, they were just, I feel like they just were going for shock value and they got lost in that.
Yeah.
Like weirdity and shock value, and then I feel like they got lost in trying to get that, cultivate that, and they lost it in that. They got lost in the sauce.
I could see that point. I can understand that. I think there's just a lot more to dig into in this movie. I don't think it's as surface level as I thought the first time, or maybe you're thinking right now it's like kind of cheap or surface level. There's a lot to dig into. One thing I really like about Midsommar, any other horror movie, knowing the ending that she's gonna get brainwashed by this cult and she's going to join this cult at the end. Any other movie, I don't think they would take the time to like prime the character for that, if that makes any sense. Like they would just kind of throw this group of friends into this thing and then it would just happen. But this movie, the first 20 minutes of the movie are in order to prime Dani and show us that, okay, this is the archetype of person that is going to be susceptible to a cult, to that mentality. For one, she's just lost her family, so she has no family in the literal sense and in the figurative sense, because the only other family that she might have is like her boyfriend and his group of friends, and they all hate her, and her boyfriend doesn't even really love her anymore. So she's kind of just completely alone. But to add to that, her interactions with Christian is she just seems like she's kind of vulnerable to manipulation, because there's so many moments where Christian is so manipulative and she can't see it or she doesn't care because she's just so scared to lose him and be alone. And so it like primes this character so that later when it's like, oh, she gets influenced by this cult, it's not like it doesn't feel cheap. It feels very earned for me, and that was something I noticed on this watch that was kind of cool. What did you think about the score? I really love the score in this movie.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, it was great. Everything was great for me. Just the story was, not just where production-wise, it was great. Music-wise, it was great.
Yeah.
Visuals, it was very much a well-done movie.
Yeah, I thought the score was really nice, especially the score for the opening sequence was really dope. When she's like sobbing and it like zooms out through the window into the snow, and you just have this really big score. That was really cool. There was also one more, I don't remember the exact scene. Maybe it's when they first get to the commune, and it's like doing this slow pan, and there's like kids playing and stuff. And the score to me, like consistently, it was kind of like whimsical, and it was a little bit like it seemed joyful and innocent on the surface, but there was just something about each score that under the surface felt evil, or like something was wrong. And I don't know how you achieve that, but it reflects the rest of the movie perfectly, and I thought it was really cool. What do you think the thesis subplot, what does that add to the plot, if anything?
it's giving them.
I was wondering.
I think it's there so that they have a reason to stick around for everything to happen.
Yeah.
If they
I
weren't
agree.
anthropology students and were just trying to look at this through like a stupid academia perspective, they would have gotten the heck out of there and gotten killed way earlier. But since they're like, oh, that's how they do it here. I'm an anthropologist. I'm going to write my thesis on this community.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, I can get past some exploding heads. That, I think, was the purpose of that. It's a little bit nonsensical
I agree.
that to think they would stick around, but then again, I've met some profoundly, ridiculously stupid people in my life, and the more I think about it, them sticking around is not that hard to swallow or hard to believe. It feels like actually pretty accurate. Exactly what I would expect an anthropology student amongst a cult to do.
Well, if you look at it, it's like what actually happened. So nothing. I mean, they take some like ayahuasca or whatever, some mushrooms, have a bad trip. The old people is really the first thing where it's like, oh, this is pretty whack. But Christian kind of mentioned something that I don't completely. It was a little bit whack, a little bit out of the ordinary, a little odd.
Yeah, a little bit.
I love the sound design. I love the sound. There's two things I love in that sequence. I love the sound design when they fall on the rock. It sounds like somebody like dropped a hot dog on a tile floor. And I also like there's like a fourth wall break. Like somebody does like the Funny Games fourth wall break and looks at the camera almost, and I thought that was really unnerving. Yeah, that's like the first thing that's kind of crazy. But Christian kind of explains it. He's like, look, that's like, this is their culture. They probably think it's weird that we shove our old people in nursing homes. They probably see that as inhumane. And so it brings up a question of like objective morality. And so I feel like that's maybe justified. And then what's the next crazy thing that happens? It's nothing really crazy happens until the end, right? I guess their friends go missing.
Until Will Poulter gets Hannibal Lectered.
Yeah, dude, that threw me for a loop. I was geeked in that scene. I completely forgot about that. But yeah, I don't think they ever actually see that. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they could have dipped after the exploding heads sequence, but I think they kind of do a good job. No, they couldn't have.
They were never going to just dip. That was never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
the
otherwise
moment
there'd be no story.
They stepped in that commune, they were toast. No, I mean, because the other guy tried to dip and he got turned into a chicken.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Yeah, wait, okay. My question. Is he still alive? His lungs were...
No. Well, they were still breathing. But I'm inclined to say no.
Yeah, I was kind of confused by that. That had me...
Well, because if you think about it, well, that wasn't the only thing that was doing that. I mean, he was tripping balls, and you notice everything was like, There's like little swirling things everywhere.
Yeah.
So maybe he was alive.
Yeah, I have that written down. I really liked that.
I don't think I could survive my lungs being pulled out my back.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking maybe there was some weird witchcraft thing, but do we ever see
when
anything really fantastical? Yeah, so for some cons, there's two things. Like, I agree with you. I think it drags a little bit. I watched the director's cut. Dude.
So did I.
My goal for this... Oh, you did?
My HBO didn't work.
My goal for this show is to every movie we watch get it on physical media. So I went to Barnes and Noble and tried to buy Midsommar. The only version they had was this freaking A24 big ass like booklet. It's like a 60-page booklet. The 3-hour director's cut with a foreword by Martin Scorsese, the GOAT. It was like $50, and I don't even love the movie that much, but maybe that influenced my love for the movie because I had to pay $50 to watch it, so I forced myself to like it more. But I do think it drags a little bit. Maybe that's just the director's cut, I don't know. There are some sequences, like for example, the dancing sequence. I remember I was like, okay, we could cut this a little bit. There was one other thing that I was like, why are we doing this for so long? The other thing that it's not really a con, but maybe an idea that could be explored. Like you were saying earlier, you didn't care about any of the characters, and I don't know if that was intentional, but I mean, they do. Most of the characters are just like douchebags, so it's hard to make, because most of the time horror movies are like, oh, we want to make these characters lovable, we want to have some witty banter between them so that when they get killed, it's like, oh no, the funny fat guy, he died, I'm so upset. But this one was like, yeah, we have 3 odds, this mysterious Swedish guy, and depressed Florence Pugh. So the only one you really care about is the beautiful Florence Pugh. So I think maybe that could be to its detriment. I don't know. Maybe we would care a little bit more if those guys were likable, but you're almost cheering, or you're not even cheering because they're not evil enough that you cheer when they die.
Them. You just don't care.
You're just kind of impartial when they die. Yeah, I don't know.
Don't care about them.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I do recall when the black one, I don't remember his name, when he died, I do remember hitting him with the damn. I'm allowed to reference him by the color of his skin. There's no other way you'd know him.
His name is Josh, so.
Okay, Josh. He did get a
Or
damn.
you could have said the smart one, the academic one.
Just like you called the other guy the Swede. You could have called him the bearded one.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Okay, okay, buddy. You could have said something besides the beautiful Florence Pugh. You could have said the broken
I love
I don't
Florence
know.
Pugh. I'm just like really. I think that's also part of the reason I wanted to watch this was because after watching. Oh, I won't say that. But I've just been on a Florence Pugh kick, and I just love her. Go watch We Live in Time with her and Andrew Garfield. Great movie. Great performance from both of them. What was the most brutal death out of all of them?
The most brutal?
Yeah.
It's got to be the chicken.
Yeah, that's kind of burned into my brain. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so there wasn't much conversation for that.
Yeah, I feel like there's not a whole lot of competition for the chicken.
Yeah.
It kind of is an easy sweep.
Yeah, I mean, Christian's death is pretty crazy just because of the surrounding circumstances. Also, crazy question I have to ask, did they like cut his legs off to fit in that bear suit?
It looked like they were going to. And then
yeah,
he
they like
walk,
pulled
so
out like a
possible
little
that they like a little freaking sawing rope thingy.
Oh.
It is very. I didn't think about that, but you're probably right. That I thought he couldn't move because of the drugs, but they might have just made him limbless.
Well, I think
they could have just.
He was paralyzed from the drugs, but then yeah, when they lay him on the table, they also pull out that little saw, and I was trying to think of the implications of that. So yeah, that was pretty brutal, and just the fact that Florence Pugh picks him to die is just so devious. But okay, anything else you want to mention with Midsommar?
Is it a movie that I liked? No. But is it a movie that I think is worth watching? Also no.
This is your first Ari Aster movie, right?
Anything from it? It is.
So
I just don't feel like you really get anything out of it.
I don't know.
It just does nothing.
I had fun. I had a good time.
Well, if you like, okay. Would I recommend it to somebody who seems like they would like it? Maybe, sure. But it's not like a movie that I'm gonna like tout to like, you know what you should watch? I saw this movie Midsommar. Bro.
Yeah, I would recommend it to somebody I think would like it.
It's not like Hot Rod in that movie. Well, it's like shut up. It's like me, I would recommend Hot Rod to anyone.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who they are. But Midsommar, I don't know who I can't think of anyone I would recommend that movie to. I can't recommend a movie you made me watch.
If I hadn't seen it and you saw it first, would you tell me to watch it?
Probably not. No.
How can I trust you?
I might say that you might find it interesting, but I probably wouldn't say like, "Oh, you need to watch this movie."
Go check it out if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it and you watch this far, sorry for the spoilers, but yeah, still go watch it because I think it's worth one watch at least. Even just to be a part of the conversation. But yeah, go pick it up. I'm not going to rate it, but I like this movie. I think it's good. And it's still, I mentioned earlier, it was my least favorite Ari Aster movie. It still is probably. But I need to rewatch Beau is Afraid because the last half of Beau is Afraid, I remember being very lost on. But this does not come anywhere close to Eddington or Hereditary in my book. But still go check it out. And that is the end of Midsommar conversation. So let's end with a little weekly recommend. Ben, you seemed like you had something earlier.
I have an album of the week.
Okay.
My album recommendation, it is called John Coltrane and Duke Ellington.
Ben, I've been really trying to get into jazz lately, bro.
You've been turned on to jazz lately?
I've been trying to get into it. Yesterday I listened to...
Well, go ahead and Duke Ellington and John Coltrane, not the other way around.
All right, I'm saving it to my library right now. Yesterday I listened to
The
Chet
opening
Baker
track-
Sings and Charles Mingus album.
Well, you also got to get into the most famous jazz album of all time, and that's kind of Blue by Miles Davis. That's a great one to start with.
Yeah.
But I tend to lead towards the Train over Miles Davis simply because I like his instrument better. John Coltrane's a saxophonist. Miles Davis plays the trumpet. Saxophones are cooler than trumpets. Therefore, John Coltrane is cooler than Miles Davis. But listen to Duke Ellington and John Coltrane, especially the opening track, In a Sentimental Mood. Great track.
Mhm.
I love that track. It's my favorite. Probably my favorite jazz track. And
Awesome.
that is my recommendation, is Duke Ellington and John Coltrane. Great album. Great musicians. Love the bass. Love the drums. Love the piano. Love the sax. It's great.
Dude, I'm absolutely going to check that out. My recommendation is going to be Nirvana, the band, the show. I've been seeing Matt Johnson interviews pop up a lot lately, and he seems like a cool guy. I saw him on Stavi's World podcast, and so I'm finally broke, and I was like, okay, we're going to go down the Matt Johnson rabbit hole. I wanted to watch Nirvana, the band, the movie, Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, but because it came out this year, and I'm trying to watch all the 2026 movies ever made, but I decided I should probably watch the show first. So yesterday, I think, I started watching the 10-episode web series, and I'm about to finish it. I was watching the last episode before we started this podcast. Really funny. It was like, I think they made it in 2007 or something, or 2009, and just using copyrighted music, like all these popular songs, just don't care. They film it in a documentary style. As I'm watching it, I'm noticing all these like Instagram reels, comedians, or like even like Curry Baker take a lot of inspiration, I think, from Matt Johnson, and specifically from Nirvana, the band, the show. So I'm gonna finish episode 10, and then I'm gonna go on to the TV show that they made. But yeah, it's incredibly funny. I've not laughed out loud this much at a show in a long time. And it's just super cool what they've been able to do. So that's my rec. Ben, thank you for this. I'm excited for next week's podcast. Guys, if you have any horror movies that you want us to watch, comment, and we'll try and get to them. Otherwise, we will see you next week.
That was a mic drop. Ah!